We've canceled over 48,000 families timeshare.
What's that revenue up to?
About 150.
Is there any issues with that?
A lot of the resorts have sued me. This time last year, I was spending $1.1 a month in legal fees. They've served me on Christmas Eve. Anything you could think of that they can do in America to destroy a human, they've done to me.
What's your biggest moneymaker?
Wesley Financial Group.
And they basically get people out of timeshares.
Correct.
Now, you started in the timeshare space how long ago?
Been 15 years of war.
What were you doing before timeshare?
Selling timeshare.
Yeah, but I mean...
For about, insurance, home security business.
So you were always...
handicapping business.
So you were always in sales?
Always in sales since 14.
Were you making the scratch?
Yeah.
So I want to go back.
Ups and downs.
I want to go back before you made the real scratch.
Yeah.
Where were you? Who were you? How old were you?
Before I made real scratch?
Yeah.
I guess at 14 I was making real scratch. I was just 14, but
how much were you making?
There's been a lot of ups and downs. So when you say where were you at when you made real scratch, the key to all this is being able to get your ass up off the ground when you bust it. And then you're going to bust it. If you're a proper entrepreneur, in my opinion, that's a mental disorder. And you have to be able to get up. You're going to get knocked down. You can't get away from that unless you're not a proper entrepreneur. If you've got a 40-hour job and then you're an entrepreneur, that's not an entrepreneur.
Well, you know, the meaning of entrepreneur is a person that takes larger than normal financial risk, especially in business. Like that's literally what it says. Yeah. So an entrepreneur has to take risks. So when you say a proper entrepreneur always falls on his ass, it's because of the risks they take. But you think it's always, I'm sure there's people out there that have never really considered a loss. Because
there's a lot of people that never lost at anything. Everything they do is successful, but that's somebody that's full of shit. Yeah. If you're an entrepreneur and you haven't busted your ass, then when you're lying, just like somebody says, I sell timeshare, but I don't lie. Hard to sell something for $50,000 that's worth $1, maybe, and not lie a little bit. But if you're an entrepreneur and you say you've never, I feel sorry for somebody that hadn't had their electricity cut off, hadn't had a car towed away. I mean, to me, I've got to live multiple lives because I'm an entrepreneur. If daddy made money and you didn't do anything your whole life but enjoy, I feel sorry for you. I'm proud. When I talk to private equity firms, first thing they do is they dig into my past and they go, Mr. McDowell, looks like you've got three bankruptcies. You had a repo here and a couple of foreclosures. I mean, you're missing a lot, but yeah, I've got all those. And I'm proud of them. Which is strange for even to hear me say.
If you could go back, you wouldn't do it differently.
No, man, no, that was fun to be able to lay in the wet grass and open your little the hole where they turn your water on and off, and they got a big red stamp, a big tag on it that says warning. If you cut this off, if you turn your water back on, there's a $50 fine. I'm going. You've already cut my water off. I've got a 2-year-old kid in the house. I got to have water, so I'm going to break the chain. To not remember laying in that grass, and that's, as Coach Bart would say, that activated my prey drive.
So how old were you?
At that age, I was probably 24, 25.
Okay, so at 24, 25, you weren't making real scratch.
Well, at 22, I made $246,000. My first year owning a business. We're selling sports handicapping tips over the telephone. You convince somebody to pay you an upfront fee to tell them who to gamble on a football game over the telephone at 22. Yeah, you're selling. I was making $500,000 a year.
That's not bad. Then how'd you get your power cut off or your water?
Well, there's been during that period, I had my general manager. He hit everybody's credit card while I was out of town. Ran everybody's credit card until that credit card wouldn't hold anything else. And I was overdrawn at the bank. I came home from a vacation with limos and private jets, and I didn't have any money.
Well, you were spending then.
Yeah.
$500,000 doesn't afford limos and private jets. Well, I mean, I guess it does.
In 1986, 85, yeah, $500,000 was Yeah, things were a lot cheaper back then.
But at 24, your water was shut off.
Probably 26, 25, somewhere in there. Yeah, but there's been a whole lot of that. There's a whole lot of, I call it 500 to 850 credit scores. And my whole life has been like that, Brad. I feel like I've been fighting since I was born. My youth, my mom was married 13 times before my 13th birthday. So I was
married?
She was married 13 times before my 13th birthday. She had me when she was 15. So I've been fighting, whether in fight clubs or boyfriends, fighting off my mom's boyfriends. Yeah, it's been, childhood was.
Where'd you grow up?
Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Oh.
I'm from Middle Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee. And you're still in Tennessee.
Yep.
You got a spot downtown Franklin.
Downtown Franklin.
Do you live there?
Yeah, that's our main house.
Why don't you ever go get the big fancy? Because there's nothing in downtown Franklin that's fancy.
Well, we've just added. We just spent $4 million over the last 5 years adding on to it. So
no shit.
We got 2 acres. It's got to be the nicest house in Franklin. And to me, to be able to walk to downtown Franklin and then be able to walk to Seaside from our beach home is a perfect situation.
Did you sell that one mansion you bought on the beach?
Yeah, we bought the most expensive new construction home in Northwest Florida history at $14 million back then. It's probably a $25 million house today. It was sick. I can't believe I bought it. We lived there for 2 years and we sold it. We bought 3 homes and 2 lots. We've sold 2 homes and 2 lots. We've got the house we have on the beach down there. I hope to keep it forever, but with my history, you just never know.
Would you never sell the Franklin house?
No, we'll never sell it because my wife will never sell it.
That's kind of like the home base.
Home base. We got that. We got beach. We got a cabin on 100 acres that I don't ever go to.
Where's that at?
It's right outside of Leaper's Fork. Some nice land.
Nothing in Montana?
8 acre lake. It's Leaper's Fork in Tennessee, just outside of Franklin.
But nothing in Montana?
No, we go out there for 4th of July. We got a resort we go to, mainly for the food and the 70-degree weather.
So for people listening, Wesley Financial, that puts you over the top, yeah? You probably won't be getting your water turned off again.
No, it'd be pretty hard I got a couple of zeros.
So I want to talk about that because you got into timeshare. Now, again, I've never been in timeshare, but I always had people quit the car business where I was, and they'd go to timeshare, and they would tell me, dude, I'm working 6-8 hours a day max, 5 days a week, and I'm making 5 times what I'm making in the car business. Yes. And I always said, well, dude, what's the catch? And they said, there's no catch. It's like unbelievable. So I almost went a couple times, but I never made it there. And you know me, I think I can sell anything to anybody as long as I believe in it. But when I started looking into timeshare, it's like, maybe it was just me, but like I personally don't want to pay and have to trade and find out that there's something not available and you got to go on a certain time. But you were selling timeshare. How much were you making when you were selling?
Not much. My first wife, the mother of my 2 sons, passed away in 2002. She died in her sleep and woke up with 2 kids and, life stopped. So I spent 3 years, I call it curled up in a ball because that's really what I did. I left life and I focused on my kids and that was it. Next thing, and I had some money stored up and went broke, had to get a job. Ended up at Wyndham selling timeshare, and it is, well, let me say this. To me, it was not a true sales job. There were people that were beating me that had never been in sales, and that was really bothering me until I listened to them. Now, I have to say, not everybody that sells timeshare lies, but it's convenient, and it helps your sales if you tell them it's real estate, and it's a great real estate investment. That's obviously not the facts. So when I realized what it was, I had to decide is this what I want to do or is this what I not want to do? I told my friends I don't want to go to hell for selling timeshare. I've done enough stupid shit in my life to buy that ticket. I didn't want to be selling timeshare in my 40s, but it did give me a place to get up and be, which is all I was looking for. And they do a phenomenal job of hiring good people. Everybody there is just like you and I both. They have the same personalities. We just look different. They made you take a personality test, And then, so I met a lot of great humans that sell timeshare, which is really, it's a little strange. We have people that work at Wesley Financial Group that sell timeshare for 8, 10 years, and they're just great humans. Now, they'll argue, I didn't lie like everybody else. If you're making $300,000 or $400,000, $500,000 a year, if you're in frontline, timeshare has two different sales posts. Frontline, people who have never bought timeshare before. You don't have to stretch that as much. But if you're an in-house, that's people that have already bought. They're in their room. You go to the room to bother them. It's called hooking a tour. You got to piss them off about their timeshare to get them to come down to meet you at your office or your cubicle to fix their account. Something's wrong with it. That's what we did when I was there. If you notice, I'm being a little careful about this. When I was there, we did that. I'm not sure they do that now, but I'm sure they are doing a much better job. I will proudly say this, that Wesley Financial Group has helped clean up the timeshare industry. Companies are actually trying to clean it up, and that's good to see. Resorts are cleaning it up. It's a lot better than it was when I started.
So you were selling it?
Yep.
Kind of cracking people over the head with of course, you didn't lie.
Yeah, I lied.
So you were telling them whatever you needed to get the deal. What
I did was this, Brad, real quick and simple. When I first got there, I thought it was true sales. Everybody said this is the NFL of sales. I said, well, can't nobody do this better than I can. And then I realized that you're going to sell more if you maybe stretch it just a touch. And I decided I was going to quit, but I was going to be the number one sales rep for 30 days before I quit. And I was there for 43 days. I got carried away. Had a lady stand up and look at me. She said, "You're the most honest timeshare salesperson I've ever met." And I'd lied to her for about 5 hours. That was my last tour. That was my last sale.
What kind of commissions would you make?
I don't have any idea. I think the max was 15%. Every month you started over again and you had a little sliding scale. But I'm not good at looking at a sales board of 10 people or 20 people or 30 people and my name not being in the top one. I mean, if I'm in the top 3, I'm okay. But I get insanely angry at myself if I'm not number one in everything I do. It's not healthy. But I'd rather be that way than being okay with being number 20 out of 20. I can't do that.
So to say you're competitive is an understatement.
When it comes to things that I know I can beat you at, if I'm competitive at ping pong, if I'm competitive on the golf course, I've got some issues because I don't play enough golf to be competitive. I'm trying to have fun, but if I got a phone in my hand, I'm selling over the telephone, or if I'm at a knee-to-knee kitchen table situation, yeah, I'm real competitive.
I would have liked to have been in your company at one point to beat your.
Oh, that'd be fun too. Yeah, I like when people say that. I have a really good friend of mine that said that to me. We were in the health insurance business. He beat me every week. Jeff Davis, if you're listening, he beat me every week. I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and his car was gone. Could not outwork the man. So I have been beaten, but I'm still going to get up and keep swinging.
Well, what do you think the secret is?
The reason he beat me, he outworked me. He was up. I was getting up at 6 or 7 o'clock, going and running appointments. He was up. He was gone by 6, and then come out. He outworked me. There's no way I couldn't keep up with him. When I hired him, and I said, we'll bet every week. Whoever wins gets free lunch. After about the 8th or 10th week, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I quit. It's embarrassing.
So you eventually had a little, was it an ethics wake up, or what made you decide to go on the other side? Because ultimately, at some point, you were putting people in these agreements, and then figured out, hey, let me get people out of these agreements.
It was an accident.
And that's Wesley Financial, guys. So if you happen to be in a timeshare you can't get out of, well, Wesley Financial gets people out of not everybody, because if you can't prove they lied, like, how are you doing it?
Yeah, well, how do we do it? That's a question. I really can't answer all of it. I don't want to answer it all. It depends on the resort. I'll make it simple. Some resorts we have a relationship with. Some resorts we don't, but we know what buttons to push that gets the resort to the point that they would rather let them out than continue down that path. bottom line, if we could prove that they were told something incorrect or there was a little bit of a stretch, especially if it's one of the larger resorts, we have a working relationship with most resorts now, and other people don't do that. Anybody else in this space, whatever they're doing, they've learned it from us.
Well, they how do you prove that they said something?
Well, most people have notes. Most people remember what was said. The sales rep normally has if you call us and you bought from Bob in Branson, and it was at ABC Resort, we know what Bob says pretty much on every call because of all the data. As you know, data is the most valuable thing on earth, and we've collected a lot of data from a lot of resorts and a lot of salespeople. So we know pretty much know what every timeshare sales rep says if they've been there for a minute.
So you recognize that, you jumped to Wesley Financial. How long did it take? Were you just overwhelmed and instantly killing the game, or did it take a while to build?
All right. So when I left Wyndham, my goal again was not to go to hell for selling timeshares. So I called everybody that I'd sold, and some of them I said, I lied to you and I didn't know I was lying when I did. Some said I knew I was lying and I lied to you. Those were hard. I had probably about a third of my calls. People said, I know you're lying, and we love listening to the new lies every year. But you buy every year. Yeah, we can't stop saying yes, and we need to start saying no, but we really enjoy listening to the lies. It's a little weird. But all I was trying to do was help people. I wasn't trying to start a business. It was the first business I ever started by pure accident. I had one lady refer a friend of hers, and I didn't know her. I didn't sell her anything. And I said, I'd be happy to help you for $3,500. I thought that was fair. She said, okay. And I had another referral, and he paid $25,000. He paid me $12,500 up front and $12,500 when I got him out. He owed like $400,000. And I went, damn, could this be a business? And you fast forward, we got 4,400 incoming leads last week.
Yeah, so now Wesley Financial's cranking out the help. What's that revenue up to?
About 150.
150 million.
Yeah.
Just getting people out of timeshares.
Getting people out of timeshare.
And is there any issues with that? Like, I'm sure you've got people now pissed off at you, no?
Lawsuits. Every resort, not every resort. As I was talking about this, I'm thinking about my legal team. Most of the resorts, a lot of the resorts have sued me, and they sue anybody in this space. They simply sue you to run you out of business. This time last year, I was spending $800 to $1.1 a month in legal fees. So if I look tired and I look exhausted and I look worn out and I look out of shape, because I am all of those. I've been in a 15-year war, but the last 3 to 4 years have been hell. We had a trial coming up 120 days out. I fired my entire legal team and brought in a new legal team on one case, and we ended up settling, and it was good for us and good for them, and it was good for the clients. But it's not been worth it. I'm gonna start with this. If I was a wise man, I'd have stayed in the insurance business. I love the insurance business. I love the annuity business. I love talking to senior citizens about their trust or lack of their trust and helping them with the will. I'm not an attorney. I had an attorney that helped me, but helping with an annuity, if annuity is something that they need that benefits them, or life insurance, that's fun. Sitting at a kitchen table, having a cup of coffee with a 75, 80-year-old couple, that was my favorite thing to sell. I wish I stayed in that, but I feel like this is a calling. I feel like this is something that God wanted me to do. We've canceled over 48,000 families timeshare now, and again, we're getting 4,400 calls last week, people wanting to get out of a timeshare. It's the only product on the planet only thing that your eyes will ever look at that you cannot dispose of. You can dispose of this couch, that hat. We can dispose of each other, but you cannot dispose of a timeshare. I had an executive.
Why do you think that is?
Well, if you're selling it and you have a maintenance fee every year, and you don't want it to be canceled. You want them to keep it forever, and then you want their kids to get it. That happens sometimes. So it is, I feel like this is a calling. I feel like that God's standing beside me everywhere I go, and he has walked me through this It's hard to actually talk about that part of this without tearing up or choking up a little bit. It is strange the confidence that he or she has put in my hands in the war that he's taken me through. There's nobody been through a war like I have. There's been people make more money, work harder, have a fancier car. I don't think that's possible. I have two really nice cars. There's nobody been through a war like this. I don't know anybody that's done it.
Who are you?
No way I could have done this
with
the timeshare industry.
So the people selling them.
They've served me on Christmas Eve, the lawsuits. They're watching my house. They've had people. I've been followed. Anything you could think of that they can do in America to destroy a human, they've done to me. It's not been worth it. It's again, the money's good. The only part that's worth it is the people that we've helped. When I get beat down and exhausted from this, and I call a client that we just got out of their timeshare, and you get an 80-year-old lady that's crying to you on the phone and thanking you. That's why I keep doing what I'm doing.
So if you didn't get them out, they would just be obligated to pay for this thing for 30 years?
Forever.
And well, it can't be forever.
It is.
Well, what happens when you pay it off the balance?
You have a maintenance fee.
Okay, well, are those maintenance fees huge?
Anywhere from, I'm going to say maybe the lowest I've seen, $500 a year would be probably the low end. We see maintenance fees of the average person that contacts us is paying $2,000 to $3,000 a year in maintenance fees. And they go up every year, and they go up whatever the resort tells you that they're going. You have no say-so over this, obviously.
So when you sign a timeshare, you're agreeing to a lifetime of payments?
Yes.
How do you get out?
Wesley Financial Group.
But I mean, other than that, like, it doesn't make sense that somebody would read this agreement and realize, hey, I'm going to be paying. There's no paying it off.
You
like
can
a house,
pay off the mortgage, like you do a house, but you still got maintenance fees. And now the industry is going to tell you if you buy a house, but when you start comparing timeshare to a house, I get a little shitty because this is not real estate. You can't put a for sale sign in the yard.
You can't sell yours.
You can, but no, you can't. You can go on eBay right now, and for $1, there was one the other day. We were with a mediator in a lawsuit, and he was talking about the value of them. You know, and he don't know the industry, and he was trying to act like they have to have some value. They gotta. If you pay $30,000, surely you can get 50 for it. I pulled up one on eBay while I was sitting there. They had 16 bids. It was $205. They probably paid about 80 or 100 grand for that timeshare. And somebody was going to take $205 because you can't get rid of it.
But they're able to sell it
for $200.
Now, does the new owner assume the maintenance fees?
Yes.
Do they have to sign up with this company?
Yes.
So it's transferable.
It's a mess, and in some cases, it's left to the kids. Then it's really a mess. It's the only thing that your eyes will ever look at that you cannot dispose of. That is insane.
How come so many people fall for it? The lies?
You know, I think that some people just can't say the word no. I don't think that most Americans can say the word no 4 or 5 times in a row. And it's hard to not believe something when they're good. I mean, if you're in the timeshare sales, they don't hire newbies. They don't teach you how to sell in the timeshare industry. Frontline, maybe a little bit, but in-house, you've got to be a seasoned vet. In-house, you're not going to see anybody 21, 22, rare. I'm sure there's somebody. It's not somebody that's new to sales, or you're not going to see a 75-year-old that's just trying to get by and he's trying to stay busy. In-house sales is, you got real boys and girls in there. I mean, they know what they're doing, but they paint a picture that's a little bit, it's not true. Not all the time. Don't sue me again.
The basic timeshare offer would be, hey, you give me X amount of dollars and you can use either this beautiful room you're looking at once a week, 2 times a week, based on the amount, I imagine.
Yep.
And then if for any reason you want to go to Hawaii, well, then there's one there and you can swap them out. And it sounds wonderful. What's
the problem?
But what's the truth?
When timeshare started, it was a phenomenal product. I'm meeting with one of the resorts this coming Thursday morning. about me selling a timeshare product for them. But it will be a product like it's like the industry started. When the industry started, you get this room, this view, you pick your week. So let's say week 11. Week 11, every year you get this unit. This is it. No exchanging, no anything. That actually was a good product. Then they came up with, you get points. So you can go anywhere, anytime. At our office, we say what that means is you're not going anywhere at any time. Nothing's available. It's almost like overselling a Southwest flight. You might have a ticket. That don't mean you're going somewhere. So that's the problem with timeshare is if they went back to a dated week, you get that week and that's it. You want to go to Smoky Mountains? You want to go in the fall? You have to buy that week. And that week's going to cost more than January. That was when timeshare was a good product. That's what got timeshare going. And they continue to corporate boardrooms. They get together. How do we make more money? More money is you got to be able to sell more than you actually have. They have breakage, like most things like this. They know what their breakage is, and they tend to oversell it. And it's always, as most closes are, though, it's always, this is today and today only. If you don't buy this today, you'll never see a deal like this again. And the people, they can't say no.
Back in those days, though, I could sell my week, couldn't I?
A whole lot easier. There's a few resorts that do that.
Am I allowed
Disney. I've never had one call from a Disney owner. Not one. Not even a call. Not only
so you're going to buy timeshare, buy Disney?
Yeah, I would say Disney. I don't want to get in trouble doing this, but Disney, Marriott's doing a really good job. Wyndham has come a long way. They've sued me 3 times so for me to say Wyndham has come a long way and plug them was a little weird. But yeah, I now talk with them, and instead of just fighting, we have conversation, and they're cleaning up their act.
So in my mind, because I just was in the Smoky Mountains, we rented this little thing. You would think, I paid like a couple grand a night, which again, it was nice. But at the end of the day, if I owned that as a timeshare, the person who built it sold 52 weeks, which got him way more money than the house costs or selling the house.
Great product.
So sounds good. And then if I bought a week, if I didn't want to go there, I could rent out my week as like an Airbnb. Are you allowed to Airbnb your timeshares?
Not Airbnb, but you can rent it to friends. Every resort changes, but they actually no, but you can.
Just to friends though?
They're not going to allow you to Airbnb it.
See, again,
they should, because that's
of course they should
sell timeshare too.
Not only that, you paid for the damn thing. It's yours, supposedly.
If you owned a deeded week, I don't think you could put it on Airbnb, but you could rent it a lot easier. Again, if you had that unit every year, that same week, in the Smokies, that's what you wanted to do. That was a great product. But if they made a product where it was 20 years, in 20 years it goes away, or 10 years it goes away. But this is a lifetime of debt. Wow.
So again, folks, some of you guys watching this early, if you're in a timeshare, Wesley Financial will get you out of it. Hopefully you got a lot of bomb squad in timeshare and if your phone lights up. Now, there's nobody bitching about your Wesley Financial. Everybody loves it because you get them out every time, or is there a time where you don't get them out, but they had to pay you a bunch of money?
If we don't get you out, we give you your money back, which is a little weird. I
don't think that's weird. I think that's the right thing to do, because if I paid you, it would be to get me out. It wouldn't be to try to get me out.
I understand, but I'm not the one that bought it. And sometimes, so if you hire me and you get a letter from ABC Resort and it takes you a month to let us know you got that letter, and then when we call you back, you don't answer the phone for another month, and you finally call us back. The clients that we have that stay in communication with us, we can get out fairly quick. Our number one complaint at Wesley Financial Group is, you got me out of my timeshare too fast, and I want my money back. There's no way y'all did that much work for a $10,000 fee.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but we obviously have to.
If I'm out, bro, you earned your money. But
that is our number one complaint. And if we don't get you out, we give you your money back. As of today, I think we've outgrown the money back guarantee. As long as a client, when we take you as a client, we know we can get you out if you stay in touch with us. a lot of people, if me and my wife buy, and you try, if I get a letter in the mail, I'm that guy that's not going to call you for a month. My wife's going to be on it. She's going to call you every hour. So we'll get out, but it's only because of my wife. So if I was a single man, I don't think I could cancel my timeshare because you have to stay in touch with us.
You got to be responsible.
It's not where you just sign something with us and turn it over and it goes away and poof. There's some effort on your part. That part of it's a little bit difficult, but it's still, again, when we get 4,400 incoming calls, we can select who we want to take as a client also. So that whole, you have to qualify part of sales. With us, you really do have to qualify. It's not a sales game. Last week, we took 317 clients out of 4,400 incoming calls. So we're selective on who.
What do you do with the rest of them?
Right now, we stack them. I'm waiting for the right product to sell. We're stacking the data. Got 1.4 million names of people that have contacted me to cancel their timeshare. Brad, you'll like this one. This actually is probably a bomb. In the last 5 years, we spent $145 million on marketing. Every time we spend one, we get 4 back.
You should start a little hedge fund for your marketing.
And so I'm going to say this. These lawsuits have forced me to do more business. The lawsuits have helped me and have helped my company. And the only way to pay the legal fees is do more business. You can curl up in a ball and just lose. Just say, okay, y'all win. I'm gonna go back to selling insurance, or I can up my marketing spend, make enough money where I can continue to live the life I want to live, continue to build the company, and pay the legal fees.
Well, I've heard your ads. They're on the radio, aren't they?
All day, every day.
Says if you're stuck in a timeshare, call Wesley Financial at 1-800-222-2222.
I guarantee we'll get you out of your timeshare contract, or you'll pay nothing.
Is that your voice?
Yeah.
It is your voice.
That is my voice.
So it took off. Wesley Financial took off. You started making millions. How much? I mean, I don't know how much that is bottom line profit, but I know you got fancy houses and suites at the old Titans game, and your sponsor and everything under the sun, and your buddies.
I like giving back to charities. You cannot outgive. But you give.
See, there you go.
Give. You cannot. Let me do this. You cannot outgive God. When you think you've given too much, give some more. It's coming right back at you. That's probably, as we get older in life, we're talking about having birthdays, you're getting older. And as you get older, as I said earlier, 50 is the best age. You're not going to get a whole lot smarter after 50. But learning the keys to life, like giving, the more you give, the more you get. So, yeah, we like to give. And I have a company called Medical House Calls. That may be my favorite business. Love that business, too.
Well, we'll talk about that one in a second, but I want to go back to make sure everybody understands kind of the lesson, because it was the same lesson for me, and it was definitely the same lesson for you, because if you'd have been, for whatever reason, you decided to start helping people instead of whacking people.
Yep.
Because you were making pretty good money whacking people.
Yeah.
And see, a lot of people, they don't ever think, hey, let me sacrifice the money I'm making to try and just help somebody. Yeah. But ultimately, I found that the more people you help, the more money you make anyway. So if you're in a business where you're whacking people, you're harming people, you're not delivering the value, then
not what God had planned for your life.
Yeah, then I would just, get out of it. Make amends by trying to help those people, and specifically in that industry. So my story is, I helped somebody. I was obviously could sell probably better than you, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course.
But I was closing.
I'm trying to figure out how we do that now. But go ahead.
Every time I ran a dealership or a business of any kind, and I was cranking up the sales department, I was able to grab people right out of Burger King, landscaping companies. I was helping average, everyday Joes, hardworking, but didn't know sales. So I'd turn them into salespeople. Well, I did that for a lot porter that was working at a dealership, dude, and his family blossomed. They were just, kind of shy and depressed. And I watched them just turn into these great people. And I thought, man, I want to help people make more money. So I quit my job, which it was all about I wanted to sell cars, not because I thought I was screwing people, but to make money. Like I would sell you a car and close a deal so I'd make money. Yep. I didn't sell you a car so you'd have transportation. It wasn't about helping you. It was about helping myself.
Yep.
But when I did this, without really realizing that's what happened, looking back now, that's what happened. I said, man, let me help people do this. And I started that company to help people. And through the turns and twists and backstabbings and, entrepreneurship,
yep.
It's still in business today. That's what you're sitting in.
Yep.
It's still helping people, and it helps lots of people now. But it started out with helping people. And
Zig Ziglar said it the best.
Yes, he did. The best way to get what you
help
want,
enough folks get what they want out of life, and you'll get what you want,
is to help others get what they want.
Sums up life pretty much. I mean,
but that's what happened to you essentially.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened.
So now you started overflowing of the coffers. You have more money than you can spend. So obviously when that happens, you end up owning other things because you invest and you start spreading it around. And next thing you know, it's not the company that makes you rich. It's the money for years invested that literally makes you rich. Because there's a lot of people that make a lot of money, but they blow a lot of money. They don't invest any of it. You get to a point where you make a ton of money. Well, you almost accidentally make more money because you have so much. It's just compounding. Yep. So you started investing in other companies. So the house call,
medical house calls,
medical house calls. I
used them. I just lost $20 million on a mortgage company. So before I get all braggy here, I got to make sure I throw that in. I am an entrepreneur.
Why'd you lose $20 million?
Wrong time, wrong place. Normally when it's the wrong timing, that's me. That's what I love that. I love getting in something where it's the wrong time. Nobody's doing it. I was in the mortgage industry from 98 to about 2001. Loved the business, did pretty well, and thought I'd give it another swing. And Titans convinced me to give them a couple $1 million a year to rename the club, the Wesley Mortgage Club, which is the West Club that looks over downtown Nashville. And my loan originators can't compete with your Rocket Mortgage and Bank of America. So I was sending salespeople out with a 6-shooter with one bullet. And it just did. And I'm not one that's going to lose $5 million and quit. And so it went to 10, then it went to 15, then 20. I said, that's probably enough. So shut that down. And I've got medical house calls. I'm doing my best right now to try to clean my plate. It's time that I slow down and that I I don't know if I could retire, but I need to semi-retire.
How old are you?
64. I'll be 65 in March.
Well, I'm going to try to beat you to that.
To retiring or the 65?
Just to slowing down. Like I got a lot of things going on and I'm trying to build this master plan. And I think the master plan will help a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's hectic as hell. Cause like you get a call, it's about this company, then this company, then that company, then this one, then that one. And then someone wants you to speak, and then you got to do your podcast, and then it's like a lot.
Yep.
But
where do you draw a line? And if you're a real entrepreneur, it's hard to draw that line. That's what my book talks about. Is this.
I draw a line a little bit, but I need to draw a better line. So you're going to beat me to it, but I'm going to try to do it in the next 5 years.
There you go.
To where I just focus on one, and that's the main. Let's call it a funnel anyway. Yep. That's one that's going to help the most people anyway.
Yep.
These all, I don't get involved if I can't help. Like, in other words, none of my businesses are screwing anybody.
No.
And I wouldn't do it. Again, no. I mean, I always...
You're not the in business to screw people kind of guy.
Well, not only that, but like, dude, you gotta sleep. Like if my products and services don't help you, like I couldn't be a timeshare salesman if I knew what they knew.
Being an entrepreneur eats up your sleep anyway.
Well,
you don't need to be an entrepreneur to lose your sleep because you're busy. That's cool. But to lose sleep because you're hustling people, yeah. Not that I hadn't hustled somebody in my life, but there's a long time ago. Being a hustler actually is a good term. But there's times in my life where I've done stuff that I wish I hadn't. But that's very, very few times.
Well, sure. And probably money was the motivator.
Yeah, keeping lights on at the time.
Get that money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So medical house calls, I used them when I was at my Nashville house, and I got an IV.
Yep.
Had them come dash me with, the
NAD?
what do you call it? No, I didn't do the NAD. You
got to get on the
My
NAD.
wife did that. She said she loved it, but she said her body felt weird.
While you're getting it.
Yeah, I don't like.
The key is to go ahead and put the NAD in when the bag's full instead of waiting until it's down here. For me, but not everybody. But that's Jay Abraham's been doing NAD 20 years probably. It helps me a lot.
Well, NAD I keep hearing good things about, but
it's expensive.
I hear that it makes your heart feel weird, and
only while you're getting it.
I know, but I don't. To me, I think your body's so miraculous; it's telling you what you should and shouldn't do through the little signs.
Well, I can do this. If I go to Montana, I go horseback riding. I come back and I get an NAD. I can feel it in my lower back. It's repairing you. So that feeling you feel. Now, again, I'm not a doctor nor an attorney. But that NAD will repair you and it'll make you younger.
So the medical house calls that's just local to Tennessee.
We opened up Florida and I closed it. I opened up what I thought would be the hardest market to see if we could do it, and it was where my home is in Florida. The problem is you're trying to market to people that are normally there 7 days, and you got to catch people when they're sick within those 7 days. So the market was impossible. I wanted somebody down there to bring me IVs too when I'm at the office and when I'm at my house. But so we're in Middle Tennessee only now. This year we'll be franchising it across the United States. They deliver your groceries to your home while they not have a doctor that comes to your house. So that's what we do. Anything you would go to an urgent care for, we will come to your home or office. Anything you would go to see your doctor for. If you're having heart issues or something, you need to go to the ER. Don't call medical house calls. But if it's something normal and simple, that's what we do.
Well, a nurse came to mind because of what I ordered, or do you have doctors that'll go?
We have one if we needed it, but normally it's a nurse practitioner. Nurse practitioner can write anything that a doctor can write as far as prescriptions. The cool thing is, so if you're sick, you got strep throat, you need an antibiotic, normally you go to the doctor, they're going to give you a steroid shot, an antibiotic, and an inhaler. Well, we're going to bring you that to your home, and we're going to bring you an IV so you'll feel better immediately. And we also bring the medicine. So that whole having to get up and go to your urgent care or your doctor, wait for a couple hours with a bunch of other sick people, go sit in that cold little room. Why is that room always 60 degrees? Go sit in that little room to wait on your nurse practitioner normally. And then you leave there, and then you got to go to Walgreens. You got to sit there for an hour or 2 hours and wait. It's a lot more convenient just to say, hey, come to my house. We were clients for 3 years. The guy that owned it sit in my house, and he said, I'm thinking about selling it. You might help me. Can I ask you some questions? Have you exited a company before? A business? Sure. So he started asking me questions. Next thing I know, I bought it from him. One of those deals, I don't know if you remember that old Remington razor commercial. I forgot that guy's name. That was back in the 70s, 80s. He was probably too young. But he said, I like the company so much I bought it. That's what happened with this. This one is
what kind of revenues was it doing?
When I bought it, they were making $100 a month. I asked this, you're going to love this one, Brad. I asked the guy, so how much do you pay yourself a month? He said $100 a grand. Okay. How much did you spend last year on marketing? This was December the 29th. So the year is almost over. How much did you spend this year on marketing? He said, he looked at his phone. He said, $4,600. I said, was that a week or month? He goes, that was for the year. I said, I got to know, what did you spend $4,600 on? He said, Instagram boost. I went, bro, that's not marketing. You should have bought some, my exact words were, you should have bought some fucking fireworks. And he looked at me like, I should have bought fireworks. You would have at least enjoyed it. But if you're going to just piss the money away, go buy some fireworks or a Sea-Doo. Get me started on a Sea-Doo. If you're having a bad day, get you a Sea-Doo. You ain't never seen a man not smiling on a Sea-Doo. But when I asked the guy how much you pay yourself a month, $100 grand, I don't need to ask you how much a company making. I already got that. The next question, how much you spend on marketing? Because I got to figure out, if you're spending $50 grand a month marketing, then you're really making 50. I need to know and he's done no marketing. He was only in 2 counties in Tennessee. He was in Williamson County, where your place is, and Davidson County. Now we're in every county in Middle Tennessee. We've doubled the business.
So he was ready to sell, though.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting in right now. I'm starting to really learn and understand M&A.
Yeah. I don't know much about it yet.
Well, you should, dude. I just had a thing, and I'm telling you, man, the real estate not even close to the investment that M&A gives you. Like, there's some rules and things that if people knew about, I could show any person that qualifies, which is, let's say, 680 credit score, no BK, no felony, how to walk into a company and literally qualify to buy a $5 million company that's throwing off $1.7 million a year.
That's a pretty good thing to know.
And then 3 years later, 4 years later, 5 years later, they got $2.5 million in equity. Plus they've been paid 1.7 for the last 5 years. So now they sell again, and they can roll that right into a bigger company.
You could teach that.
100%.
I think people would pay for that.
But I'm going to do it first. So this year, dude, I'm going to start buying companies. So if anybody out there, tired, don't really want to keep doing what you're doing, but you got a real company, because think about it, dude, I keep starting them. That's where the risk is.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
They say 80% of the businesses go out of business every, no, that's not true, dude.
I got to ask you this.
Very few businesses go out of business that, comparatively speaking, that are in business. The problem is you're talking about startups. Yep. Startups go out of business. Businesses, they very rarely go out of business. In fact, the SBA has numbers that I was reading. 1 out of every 72 businesses that they fund go out of business.
Really?
1 out of 72.
Really?
That's what their numbers say. Of course, it's government. Could be bullshit.
Yeah, I don't believe anything from the government. But that's the J. Abraham will say 95% of them are going to go out of business.
Yeah, but look at what you did. I don't know what you paid for that. If they were making $1 million a year, you probably shouldn't have paid more than 3 or 4.
I think it was worth a 3x.
Okay, so if you bought it for 3x, you've owned it, you've doubled the revenue, it's doubled, it's worth 6x now. Yeah. So you've made money. Now pretend you didn't have everything else going on. Yeah. You could literally exit that company. And see, people, another mistake they make, falling in love with these companies. They got to look at it just like they do rental homes.
Yes.
This is just a business. It's cash flowing. There's systems and processes and management. You go in and buy it. Boom, 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, you flip it, you roll it right into another bigger company. The next thing you know, bro, you got $100 million a year company that you literally, I could show people how to do it. As long as you
have the time to do it, and that's the key, is when we talk about keeping your plate clean, where you have time to do things. If you just do one thing, then that's fun. And I'm sure you're like me. The part of business that I enjoy more than any is convincing or recruiting other people to come lock arms with me and work with me, and in watching those people's life change for the better because of something I did. Knowing you like I do, I would imagine that's your favorite part of business.
I haven't been able to master that. People always ask me, Brad, if you could go back, what would your mistakes be? Number 1, trusting the wrong people.
Yeah.
I'm real trusting.
Yeah, me too.
Number 2, can't seem to build a real strong team. Now, again, I have good people, don't get me wrong, but a full team of people at every one of my entities, I haven't been able to build, and I'm just now realizing it. So for the next 24 months,
you should be able to do that.
Now I can.
Because of the kind of human you are. The reason you trust people, because you do what you say you're going to do. You're expecting everybody else to do the same thing. I do the same thing. But the key to building anything, especially taking it from here to here to here, the only way you go up in volume or up in business, obviously your marketing is important, but the people that you have decided to surround yourself with, and that's everything when it comes to a business. Yes. Getting people to buy in because you are doing something good and something right, but hiring people that love themselves, that's a big one. If you find somebody that loves themselves and they love their family, there's a small chance they're going to love you and your company. But if they don't love themselves or love their family, you got no hope. Now you just hired somebody, a body. Yeah, you got to hire people that love themselves.
Now, some people, again.
And, I've got friends I've got a couple of college fraternity brothers that work for me. They're there because they're old friends. They don't love themselves. I got one, his wife's working. All he has to do is give me about 3 hours a week more. His wife could quit. Do you love your wife? If you just work, if you didn't duck hunt quite as much, if you didn't deer hunt, if you actually listened to your own sales calls and tried to get better every day, this man's wife would not have to work. So does he love himself? No. Does he love his family? No. But he still works for him. Now, he's not in a management position. He thinks he could be a manager, but he's got no clue. But that's the key. Anybody can start a business, but to take it from a business to making $1 million a year to $2 million, you don't go to $1 million a year you don't go to $5 million a year without people around you smarter than you.
Yeah. Well, I've learned that recently, unfortunately, because I'd already be a billionaire if I had a team from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I'm building one. I'm bringing them in. They're coming in more rapidly now, and there's a lot of opportunity in my world. So as I'm building those teams, I figure that's my second one. So trusting the wrong people and building a team. If anybody's out there doing it, build a team, folks. Start now. Yeah. Value good people. Don't be cheap. Don't try to get everybody so cheaply. I mean, I know people, probably me included, that didn't want to part with the money, so I didn't get the good team. You know, it was either that or I, trusted that the person feeding me a line of shit was good when they weren't. And, you don't learn your lesson. You don't get rid of them.
If you hire, I try to hire females. If you hire a really strong female and pay her twice as much as she thinks you should pay her, and she's obviously talented and skilled and everything that you need, that's my winning target, is to try to find really smart women that are tough, because growing up in America and a female in a business world, you gotta have to enjoy throwing an elbow or two and pay them to the point that they can't believe you're paying them that. They will die for you. They will be there for you.
You had a question earlier. Do you remember what it was?
I think it was about the recruiting, and if that was something you really enjoyed, and getting people to follow you. And to me, we had a little get together last night at the Wynn. We had about 50 employees, and one of them said, "Chuck, I've been with you for 5 years, and I just want to thank you that you've changed my life. I've just bought a new home. My wife just bought her a new car. This is the best job I've ever had in my life." Got 60 years old, and just over and over. And I looked at my sons that were standing there. I said, "This is why we do it. That's why I like building big companies. It's not about the business. It's not about the sale. It's not about the close. It's about my close is closing people to follow me in a business, to lock arms and believe that we're all in this together, and watching their life change for the better because of something that I did." To me, that's what growing a business is all about. If I was doing this by myself, it's fun. You make money. But if you don't have people you can share that with, to me, you're taking all the fun out of it, or you're adding all the fun. Helping people change their life. Coming to our Christmas party and a man bringing his wife, and the wife wants to hug you and thank you because it's the best job her husband's ever had, and it's changed our life. Like Zig says, helping our folks get what they want. That's from your salespeople. That's from your management. That's for your clients. If you're in the sales business, you're in the helping business. I need to help you get what you want. If that is getting out of a timeshare, or if that is having somebody come to your house and bring in IV because you're too sick to get out of bed, then we're helping people. But if you cannot convince people to join a business with you and fight just as hard as you are, you cannot keep increasing the business. It's impossible. You can't. So right now, I'm talking about 2 companies. I need to get rid of one of them. But every entrepreneur that's a real entrepreneur, if you get one that hits, one that's really successful, you got to go find a second one. Damn it. I don't want to, but I want to. It's just what we do. It's the drug of choice, is starting a business and getting that rush.
Or buying one.
Or buying a business and building it. So you don't buy it to keep it where it is. I've got a business and I'm meeting with an investor this week, and his question was, his comment to me, Chuck, is, "I'm not interested in making 20% return on my money with you. Do you want to be a billionaire?" And that was what my question was. What we got to do to be a billionaire? I mean, not one of those on paper billionaires where you say, I own this many homes and I'm a billionaire. No, I'm talking about you really got $1 billion to work and save in America and save $100,000 after taxes. Yeah, anybody's listening to that. If you've done that, you're a badass. You work and pay taxes and pay your bills, and you save $1 million. $1 million. You've done well. What do you got to do to go to 100? What about $1 billion? To have $1 billion, did you think about that? It pisses me off that I don't. Not that I want the billion. It would be cool. I just have a big boat. That's the only thing I would change is I'd have a massive boat. That'd be a yacht. We won't call that a boat. But it's just it's a competition. Used to, millionaires was the thing. Now it's billionaires. I don't know how many billionaires there are, but why is somebody else a billionaire and you or I are not?
Timing,
that pisses
connections,
me off, dude.
Relationships.
See, you're doing something. You know those
information.
Saying, this is the good one. This may be a bomb. I don't know. The old saying, what is it? It's not what you know till you know. It's not what you know till you know. I think that's outdated. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. If you walk in a room and there's 1,000 people and you don't know any of them, but they all know you, you win.
Well, you're better off for sure.
Yeah,
but that's not always. That's all it takes.
No, but it's easy to walk up and introduce you to somebody and they already know you.
Well, to me, the reason why people aren't where they want to be at any level is because they don't know the right person and they don't have the right information. Because if they knew the right information and the right people, they'd have it.
But will they still do it?
Well, again, the right information would mean you knew to take action. So, I mean, my point is, I think people are a relationship away or a little bit of information away, because there's a lot of people out there, like me. I'm not a billionaire, but I'm doing all the right shit. I'm doing everything. But guess what? I haven't met the right person and I haven't received the right information. Now, again, it could also be time. Time, dude, $1 billion is a lot of freaking money. Like, people don't understand. I heard something the other day. If I gave you $1 a second, it would take like 11 days to give you $1 million. But if I gave you $1 billion, it would take 31 years at the same rate.
Wow.
Like 11 days versus 31 years. Like, it is a big difference. But I think it's because I say the more hands you shake, the more money you make. I think people should be up and out and networking and shaking hands and introducing themselves and providing value and helping people. And, that's good fortune. And eventually you're going to meet the right person. You're going to do a little better and do a little better. But as you make more money, more doors open. Like right now, like you're buddies with old celebrities and governors and mayors. So now you got way more connections you had before you were loaded.
Oh yeah. It's, that's part of being a member at the right golf clubs. And I want to be around people that have more than me, but also we want to be around good people. If you're a bad human and you have more than me, I don't really care. Yeah, I don't have time. I've got a rule: no drama, no undercurrent, no assholes. I have to keep all of those three, at least one car link away from me.
Well, you should say what I say.
What's that?
I don't F with three things: condoms, rattlesnakes, and headaches.
I like that. Condoms, rattlesnakes. Yeah, I'm not a snake fan.
But the point is once you start leveling up, see, people think, well, that don't get you to $1 billion. I know, but the more money you make and the more help you're giving and the more value you're providing and the more people that know you, to your point, the more doors open. Next thing you know, you're invited to parties you never would have been invited to. You're at a country club you never would have been to. You're at a resort you've never would have been to.
And when you get to that meeting, when you get to that resort, in that situation, don't think you don't belong. People will make you think that you don't belong there because you've not been here before. Just because you got to that table the first time don't mean you're not going to be there the second, third time. It's funny when you meet people. So if you're not around millionaires and all of a sudden you got 5 millionaires that are sitting at a table with you, the first time you start to think they know more than you, they're wiser than you, they've worked harder than you. No, they came to that table once too. They were the first person at that table at one point. But it's key. It's important that you know that you deserve to be at that table and act like you deserve to be there.
Yeah, self-worth goes a long way.
Yeah.
But once you start making money, doors start opening. So once you started making money, now you got all kinds of celebrity buddies, powerful buddies, etc. You're going golfing, you're going duck hunting, you're drinking beer, you're at the football games.
Yep.
How much of that do you think turns into business?
Not that much. You meet people, and again, when they're trying to not work, and I was talking about my old buddy Bob a while ago, one thing he's trying to teach me to do is say no. No is a hard thing for me to do. I would imagine it's a hard thing for you to do.
Right now it is.
Yeah. No is, especially if you ask me to do something 2 months from now, because I don't have anything on my calendar. Sure. Well, then a week before that event, I go, damn, I should have said no. But where you say no, where you can spend the time on your business and not just spread yourself so thin. Yeah, and you got to have your relationship with your family. Hard to do that.
But like podcasts.
Yeah.
Should have just said no.
No, that's different, man. If Brad Lee asked you to be on the podcast, then you got to do it.
Well, again.
This is my 4th podcast.
Because we're helping people.
Yeah, I've said no to every podcast until like 2 months ago.
Well, dude, podcast is the new commercials. Podcast is the new billboard. Like, dude, let me tell you something. This podcast airs, and it continues to air for the next 10 years. And you'll get people hitting you up when you're dead. And they'll be like, oh, he died?
I got a question.
Yeah.
So I spent $145 million the last 5 years on marketing, on the radio all the time. I've got a company called Red Pocket Mobile. I'm doing this obviously as a plug also. Red Pocket Mobile just hired Damon John to do their TV commercials, and they're going to have me do their radio commercials. Do you think that me doing other brands' commercials on radio helps my brand or dilutes it?
Ultimately, I would say it helps it depending on the association.
As long as it's not condoms.
As long as it's not, negative.
Right. But Red Pocket
Mobile. like right now, if I started promoting, for example, something that was put into a scandal, well, then I probably shouldn't have done that. Right. But if I started promoting American Express Platinum and they paid me to go be the Platinum American Express face, that would help me. That would help Lightspeed.
Like Red Pocket Mobile.
Yes. Because, again, it boils down to volume. You want to build a personal brand, here's what I tell people. It's very simple. It's just not easy. So, number one, you got to flood the internet with your face.
Yep. You do that.
Are you flooding the internet with your face?
Radio.
You're not
social media. Yeah, my company.
Yeah, but dude, listen. I was out with Gavin DeGraw the other day.
Yep.
You know this Gavin DeGraw?
Yep.
He sings "I Don't Want to Be," But anyway, famous dude, way more known and famous than I am.
Right.
And we're walking through the mall, and everybody's walking up to me wanting pictures, and he's just standing there, and they're like, hey, Brad, can we get a picture? Well, it dawned on me, dude, people know his voice. He wasn't singing. People know my face. So at the end of the day, you flood the internet with your face. Step 2, you have to have enough content to flood the internet. Yeah, problem is most people are trying to create it instead of being the content. So if you don't have 8 to 10 hours a day to work with, which would be a full-time content creator, which most people aren't like you got shit to do. You can't just create content all day. But you can be the content all day because you are the content, Chuck. Yep. And then now you've got enough, and then you hire a team, chop it up, or you chop it up yourself, and you drop it all day long, and people won't do that because A, it costs money, B, it takes time. It's not an overnight thing if you do it real. Like my shit's real. I don't pay for followers. I don't pay for comments.
Yours is real because you also are a business person. You're not just a social media face.
Yeah, but you
actually run a business.
Well, that's not why, though, Chuck. I've been hit up 1,000,000 times. Hey, I can get you 1,000,000 followers. Hey, I can make your podcast #1 on the charts. I can do this. I can do that. I'm not interested. Why? Because that's not real. And here I am trying to build a real brand that's trusted.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go be fake.
But when you talk about business, you can talk about business because you're in business. A lot of people on social media are on social media. That is their business. They've never built a business. Not everybody, but most. I don't think most people that are on Instagram right now telling me how to help me with my business or sales, they've ever even been in sales. That's what they've done. And some people have a good face and a voice for that. You don't have to run a business. That is the new business. There's no more yellow pages.
Yeah, dude, this is a TV station. The question is do you have a channel? What's touched the line?
Touch the line is real simple. I'll start with saying it is do shit right. But it's simple. It's when we played sports, when in high school or college, you had to run suicides. You got to touch the line, start the baseline on basketball, run the free throw line, touch the line, baseline. It always bothered me when I was in high school that you would run suicides and somebody would come up short. Then they would brag about beating you. But what happened with me in high school, the reason touch the line is so important to me is my freshman year, we were undefeated in football. Just one class, just the freshmen, 10-0. Sophomore juniors went 4-6, and the seniors didn't care. Nobody gave a shit. Well, those freshmen that went 10-0, when we became seniors, we gave a shit. So we told everybody, you're going to touch the line. When we run suicides, when we stretch before practice, we stretch perfectly at the same time. It's not we don't look like a bunch of idiots. We touch the line with everything we did. The key to this is it's important that each one of us touch the line in our daily walk in life, whether it's spending time with your family, whether it's working, touch the line. But here's the key to this. When you get when you get everyone in your business to touch the line, when you start expecting others to touch the line that don't touch the line, and when you get everybody in your business together, all doing shit right, you don't have to wonder, did they do what they said they were going to do last week? I already know because they touch the line. And if you don't touch the line, you don't work here. And in every one of my business, you're going to touch the line. And I'm not going to run an ad and recruit to replace you and not tell you. Everybody in my business says, no, your job is to keep your job. My job is to find somebody better than you at every position. If I'm on the Tennessee Titans and I find a better number 2 wide receiver, but I don't bring him in because I like you, that's bullshit. That's not the way the world works. My job is to go find somebody to replace you. Your job is to impress me so much I can't replace you. That's touching the line.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a good phrase. Touch the line.
Yep.
Don't get it confused, folks, with do the line.
No, big difference. Huge.
There's a lot of people out there that they're thinking do the line.
No, don't do any lines. No, especially today. No.
Well, Chuck, I appreciate you coming in. I know you got a meeting crosstown. You opened an office here.
Yeah, we've had an office for 6 years. We've got a new facility.
Oh, you're going to go check it out?
Yeah, got a brand new one. Today's the first day. And we had a big rah-rah meeting this morning, but I came to drop a few bombs and then go to the rah-rah.
Well, next time you're in town, make sure you stop again. Folks, Go follow this dude at Chuck McDowell. Started off a little rough, but now seems like a good dude. Again, I can't confirm or deny because I'm not in business with him in any regard other than the IVs, and that one was good. But I hear a lot of people, talking positive about Wesley Financial because they got themselves out of a pinch. If you're in the timeshare space, and I would say if you're in timeshare and you're making a bunch of money and you said it's clean.
Come to work with us.
Yeah, but anyway, go find this dude. Sounds like he's out there freaking touching the line himself and teaching people to do so.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in, and as always, till next time, keep it real.